Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue au Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Hello friends. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you recognize from that attempt at a French introduction that this is my series in which I use Cercle de Marseille adjacent, and antique Italian decks to help me explore topics that I draw from my larger weekly spread. Now, I do a large weekly spread. This lunar cycle and for the previous two lunar cycles, I've been doing a really intricate two-part weekly spread. What I mean is I do a weekly spread in two videos because it takes that much time to unpack. And so I use this slot for these last few months to help me get a concise message. Yeah, I asked the question, what is the central message of this week's Tree of Life spread? And in case you haven't seen this week's Tree of Life spread, I'll put a card up here so you can hop over and take a look at that video, so you get a sense of the context from which this response to that question is going to be coming from. So, just in case you did see that larger, long video on the Tree of Life, let me remind you that the title was, what was it? Yeah, Balancing Mind Brings Us the Magic of Love. Balancing Mind Brings Us the Magic of Love was the title. And we started off that spread at the very top in Kether with the Ace of Swords upright, and we moved through the spread to the Ace of Cups in Yesod, and then Venus in Malkut. So we had a lot of Venusian energy, a little bit of Jupiter, Libran energy, all running through that spread, giving us that sense of relationship, of balance, of bringing mind and heart together to create magic. So the question, again, is what is the central message of this week's Tree of Life spread? This is to help us get both clarification and perhaps even confirmation. So friends, what am I going to do? What I'll do is I'll show you the question once more, just because that's the way I do things, and then I'll show you the cards that I pulled from this week's deck. Here we go. Isn't this a gorgeous, a lush deck? This is a deck, a Cercle de Marseille that was redrawn by a beautiful creator called Lili Stone. And I'll have a link in the description box below so you can hop over to her site. She's got this deck. She has also a redrawing of the Visconti Sforza deck, which is also lush. The colors are just so vibrant. I love the color palette. I love the navy blue background. Both decks are amazing. She also created a redrawing of the Rider-Waite Smith, of this Pamela Coleman Smith's concept of art, and I'm waiting for that to come out, hopefully sometime soon. I really hope that I can get my hands on a copy of that deck when it comes out, because it is a brilliant redoing of the Smith-Waite system, I believe. So, all that aside, we just saw, again, this beautiful deck, these beautiful cards. From left to right, we had the Four of Swords, we had the Two of Swords, and then we had the Four of Coins, and then we had the Hanged Man. And let me tell you a couple of secrets about this week's reading. First one is when I laid the cards out the first time. I did a 3-card spread, and I got those first 3 cards. You have the Four of Swords, the Two of Swords, and the Four of Coins. And I had this itch. Now, there was nothing in those 3 cards to give me an indication that I needed another card from the deck. But I don't know. I felt an itch. Maybe it was the Four of Swords at the beginning making me think I wanted 4 cards. I don't know. And I felt the itch. I wonder what, maybe it was just curiosity. I wanted to see what the next card would be. And so I thought, shouldn't I? And I did. I pulled the next card and it was the Hanged Man. And so I thought, okay, so yes, this is full stop. And what a perfect card to show up for the Hanged Man in the Moon as the last card of this spread. Second secret. I just said that I got the Four of Swords, the Two of Swords, and the Four of Coins, right? That's the truth. I did. However, let me show you the backs of these cards. This is what the backs of the cards look like. Doesn't that look like an Ace of Coins to you? Well, apparently the Four of Coins card was flipped over in my deck. Sometimes that happens when I'm reinserting the cards after a reading. Because the backs look so much like the Ace of Coins, I will sometimes inadvertently put one card back in upside, not reversed, but upside down, and not even notice it. And so this card came up, and I thought it was the Ace of Coins, and I thought, oh wow, so new opportunities. And I took a photo of the spread, and I did my notes for the spread. And then I went away, and I came back yesterday, setting up for this week's Cercle de Marseille reading, and I picked up the cards to make sure they were in order, and that's when I noticed that this Ace of Coins looked a little bit strange. So I picked up the card, and actually, it wasn't that way. It wasn't that. I picked the cards up upside down, and I fanned them out and was about to flip them around when I noticed that one of the backs wasn't a back, it was a Four of Coins. And then I flipped it around and I noticed, oh man. So I had to redo my notes and ponder for a moment whether I wanted to read that slot as either the Ace of Coins or the Four of Coins. And you see that I took a photo again of the Four of Coins. So that's what I'm going to read the spread with. But I'm going to remember that there is the potential of an opportunity here. From that, because that Ace of Coins image impressed itself upon me so much. Does that make sense? So, we're going from left to right. There's no indication that it needs to go in any other way. And we're going to start with the Four of Swords. I mean, there's also a wonderful balance here of the Four of Swords, the Four of Coins, and with the Two of Swords in the center, right? So we're starting off with the Four of Swords. And let me just show you that image once more. I hope you can see it. Beautiful, again, beautiful color palette in this deck. We have the flower, a vibrant flower, a bud of a flower, right? It hasn't bloomed yet, but it's right there in the center of those four swords. And we have four other buds on the outside, yeah? Bud. Not exactly Bud Light. We're heavy in bud. Boy, we went into a very different place. Not flower buds, but a very different kind of bud came to mind. And anyways, moving right along. So, the Four of Swords. What are some indications for this card? We have taking caution, conservation, conservative thought, conservation of thought. Now the fours are balanced. Fours are stability. Fours are all the ducks in a line, right? It's also a chance for analysis, of picking things apart, because we've got our stability, we've got our foundation set. So it's time to analyze what's here, to be systematic and think systematically, to think rationally about where we are, where we're going, what we see, what we know, what we think we know. But this is a really solidly positioned mind card, right? Solidly positioned thought, solidly positioned ideas and clear view. And a maturity is here. We've gone through a little bit of growth from the ace to the 2 of dichotomy, to the 3 of bursts of energy, to a little bit of stability here. We've got a little bit of maturity, not the maturity of the wise old one, but we do have a little bit of maturity here. There's a practicality here as well of the 4s. Yeah, the 4s are stable, they're earthy, and they're practical thought, practical acting based upon our practical thought. And organizing our thoughts as well. Now, we're not only analyzing and systematizing, we're organizing and associating things. So that's what we've got here. And we've got, again, a flower here about to bud. It hasn't opened up yet. But we have, again, stable, rational analysis, our systematic thought, and organizing our thoughts and our ideas and what we see in the world. And that moves us right into another swords card, the 2 of Swords. And you possibly are thinking, well, that's a regression, right? We've gone from the stability back into this kind of duality of maybe insecurity. But notice that this flower in the center has bloomed. We've got more space here. Yeah, we've got 2 fewer swords, but we've got more space. So another way to read this card could be clarification. After that systematic thought, after that organizing of our ideas, we get clarification. And we have the space to do more research for a little bit of that bud to bloom. Yeah, we can gather more information here as well. Getting stuck in our solid foundation of stability leads to stagnation. So we can either go into the 5, which would be a bursting forth, or we can take advantage of this 2 and do some more research, clarify what it is that we've been thinking about, developing our insights from what we have organized. We can implement our imagination here as well, our daydreams. Our hopes and our fears can be visualized here. And hopefully we'll spend more time visualizing our hopes, but we can also notice our fears here as well, and allow them to flow out of our experience as we give more attention to our hopes and visualizing them and placing them vibrationally on our powerful current of intention. We can prepare for the next step ahead. We can we can wait for action here. Now, again, it's not a stagnant waiting for action. We're, again, gathering information. We're developing our insights, but we can wait for the time, for when the time is ripe to act, which is going to be emphasized a little bit at the end of this spread. There's the potential of hopping from one subject to another for, again, that instability. And so we want to be aware of our potential for lack of focus in this card. But we also want to allow our focus to expand with dreams and insights and imagination. And that brings us to the 4 of Coins. Now remember, the first time I read this, I had the Ace of Coins here, which made me think of this flower here blooming into a new opportunity. That those dreams, those daydreams and the imaginations giving us the flower of a new opportunity. But instead, so we've got a little bit of that. We have that potential. So we don't want to neglect that. But we have a different flowering here. We have the flowering of the shield in the 4 of Coins, which is also conservative. Conservative, not like the difference between conservative and liberal politically. Many liberals are interested in conservation of the environment, conservation of the planet, conservation of species, right? That kind of conservation, protecting and conserving what is in existence, which is not a stagnant or retrograde kind of conservatism, but rather it's a fluid, dynamic conservation. That's what I see in the Four of Coins, especially coming from the Two of Swords, with daydreams and insights and imagination bursting forth into this shield here in the center. So we have conservation, gaining our sense of security, our stability, being frugal. We don't want to overspend, we don't want to overindulge, which were ideas that were brought forth in the Tree of Life spread from this week as well. Now we had Jupiter in reverse there, and Jupiter in reverse, which is actually the Emperor in reverse, we had the potential for overdoing stuff. So here's that reminder, and that reminder not to overdo stuff was also emphasized in the Ace of Cups, I believe. Or it was emphasized somewhere else in the spread as well. And so, here, this card is an echo of that. Don't overdo things. Let's be frugal. We want to make sure that the working order of our mind and our bodies and our homes and our health is assured by not letting what we have stagnate. Yeah, again, this needs to be I keep saying again this time in this video, we want a fluid, we want a flow of resources and health and material and money. We want things to flow out and flow in, to keep that kind of dynamic conservation of what is. Because an immobile kind of conservation, a conservation that doesn't allow for change and flow, becomes a stagnant conservation of moving towards death and decay. We want a living, vibrant conservation and stability in our resources, in our health, in our homes, in everything around us. We want to have solid material assets. And we want to remember our tradition. We want to know that we have honor that can be maintained. Our reputations also can be maintained here. And those reputations and that honor can be that blossoming from the Two of Swords. Now those daydreams, those insights, the imagination can blossom forth into that which is honorable for us, which supports and develops our reputation. That coat of arms there did not appear out of nothing, right? It is the result of imagination and development of a family tradition, for example. So this is where the spread was leading us, which is an interesting confirmation of a specific aspect of this week's Tree of Life spread, of sheltering in place, as we know that new ideas and new insights are imminent, which gives us that idea of these three cards together. Yeah? Especially those insights and new ideas and developing insights and imagination and daydreams of that Ace of Swords in the Tarot of the Holy Light. This is possible because we are doing the work of the fours, of sheltering in place, making sure we don't overindulge. Does that make sense? Which would lead us to, eventually, the magic of love. But in this spread, that leads us to the Hanged Man, right? Which is telling us a couple of things, which is telling us that, well, that is the basis for this channel, in a way, which is also telling us that this is a moment, this is a space in time, this is a period of space-time in which we are waiting, we are immobile. which reminds us of the Nine of Wands in Binah from this week's Tarot of the Whole, from this week's Tree of Life spread. The supernal triangle, I used the Tarot of the Holy Light, and one of those cards in Binah was the Nine of Wands, which gave us that idea of sheltering in place, waiting, being immobile, but not unproductive, right? Maybe we're defying convention in our conservation. All conservation does not have the same flavor. Some conservation is ridiculed by the conservatives, right? We are called, I'm putting myself in this space of the liberal conservationist, we are called tree huggers and ridiculed, right? So, define the convention of taking advantage of resources and using whatever it is around us to fulfill our desires. Instead, we defy that convention and we support the structures that exist, the environmental structures, the social structures that are beneficial to us. And some of the social structures are beneficial to us. Some are not, and some are calling for change, but not all of them are to be thrown out with the bathwater, right? And this card is reminding us again that the moment to act has not yet come. But it is coming. So rest, pray, do the Zen, pre-Zen actually, the Taoist, do the Tao of non-doing. There is a translation of one of the verses from the Tao that says, the master does nothing and yet leaves nothing unaccomplished, leaves nothing undone. And that's another thing that can be possible here with the Hanged Man. Our perspectives can be turned upside down, but turning our perspectives upside down can be an opening to that Two of Swords for fresh insights and developing our ideas and allowing those new perspectives to feed our daydreams and our imagination. And yet we also want to accept reality as it is. We accept what is, we know what is, we change our perspective, we imagine what can be, what can come. We prepare ourselves for the next movement in our lives. We think, we pray, we bring our forces together for the next step, and we ready ourselves. And we're readying ourselves to implement, I suppose, the magic of love from this week's tarot, from this week's Tree of Life spread. Does that make sense? Can you feel the flow of this 4-card reading, this stable reading of conservation and preparation for taking advantage of the magic of love? I think it's pretty cool. I hope you do too. If you do, let me know in the comments below. If you don't, let me know in the comments below. If you see another reading for these 4 cards, let us know. Let us all know in the comments below. We can teach each other. Also, if you are still here, hit that thumbs up button so that so that YouTube knows that you got something out of this, and it will draw other eyes to the channel. It boosts the channel with the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. I'm doing 3 a week these days. I would try to do a 4th sometimes, but this semester and this spread is not allowing me that space to do that extra video very often. But I might do it, so hit that alarm bell so you get notification. Also, yeah, like I said, so comment below. I'd love to hear from you. If you want a reading from me, with Tarot de Marseille, with a Smith Waite deck, with anything, shoot me an email. We'll get you a reading. My email address is below. thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. And friends, now, As always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.